What's up, everybody? Big Sky Bowler here again. This time I'm coming to you from Lehi. It's basically Salt Lake City, down here for the PBA Beehive Open. It's a regional down here. So this is my second year going to this regional. Last year I didn't do too bad. I finished in like just after half the field, so I did not make the cut, but I was kind of close because they usually take the top third. So this year the plan's the same. They're going to take the top 1/3 of the field, which there is over 80 bowlers entered in this tournament. So that's a pretty big initial cut. We're gonna have 29-ish bowlers going to the first cut, and then tomorrow, if you make the initial cut, is when it gets tough, because then they take the top 16. So I've got a good game plan together. I got here early on Friday, so I was able to get down here for practice, and I was able to find equipment that was giving me excellent shape. I'm feeling really confident this time around because I made quite a few changes over the last couple months of not going to anything. Been working with a coach on my swing. I made a few changes to my spare game. If you didn't know, I now am throwing my spares with my thumb on the ball, just because it gives me a lower rev rate and a better ability to control where my spare ball is going, because the spare ball doesn't want to hook. So overall, I'm feeling extremely confident. Now I just have to execute and make sure I do what I've been training for. So we're going to start here in about a half hour. Check-ins in 3 minutes. We can't live stream. That was my plan, unfortunately. So I'm going to record as much as I can. I'm here by myself, so I don't have a videographer. I'm going to get inside, get checked in, get stretched and warmed up, and wish me luck.
I know we grew up a little too fast. I miss the days that we chill and relax. Where did the time go? It all passed. Now I need to go back. I had no worries, but always had plans. The only thing I did was take out the trash. Now it's much harder to laugh. Hard to get up and then work on my craft. Yeah. I need inspiration. Don't need no validation. No more medication. Just try some meditating. I don't need you to save me. Feel like all of you hate me. Everything's been so hard with all the situations lately. I just need to numb the pain for a minute. I just wanna run away on vacation. I don't know what else to say now. I just need to numb the pain. Oh, I just wanna numb the pain. I just wanna run away. I don't know what else to say now. I just need to numb the pain. Well, maybe I'm done, maybe I've lost. Still putting up a fight because I love my mom, I love my family. When I was young, they would all look after me. I don't know why, but I feel like a burden. I spend my life overthinking my purpose. I can't really cry, I'm so used to the hurt. Trauma keeps flipping me at the wrong moment. Oh, I just wanna numb the pain for a minute. I just wanna run away. Oh, I just wanna numb the pain. I just wanna run away. I don't know what else to say now. I just need to numb the pain. Well, maybe I'm done, maybe I've lost. Still putting up a fight because I love my mom, I love my family. When I was young, they would all look after me. I don't know why, but I feel like a burden. I spend my life overthinking my purpose. I can't really cry, I'm so used to the hurt. Trauma keeps flipping me at the wrong moment. Oh, I just wanna numb the pain for a minute. I just wanna run away on vacation. I don't know what else to say now. I just need to numb the pain. I just need to numb the pain.
Hello everybody, it's Sunday and I am already back at home. It's, late in the afternoon at this point. I got up early and drove all the way home. The tournament, it wasn't a bad tournament for me. I spent a lot of my time prepping for this tournament just working on my shot making ability and my spare shooting ability, because my spares at the first tournament of the year, which was in Grants Pass, Oregon, were absolutely terrible. It was a shorter pattern, but I could not pick up a single pin spare to save my life. This tournament, totally different experience. It was a shorter pattern, but because I made the switch to using my thumb on my spares, which, surprise, if you didn't know that, that's what I've done, my spare percentage has gone way up. My single pin spares, my corner pins have gone way up. My multi-pin spares have gone way up as well. So overall, that was a positive change for my game, and my spare game was on point for this tournament in Salt Lake. There was only a few minor single pins that I missed, and that was extremely late in the tournament where, at that point, I wasn't going to make it. I was doing a really good job with hitting my intended targets, my intended ball path, and the problem was I was struggling with ball reaction the entire time. I have been working with one of my coaches for the last couple months getting ready for this tournament. I wanted to make sure I was as prepared as possible for this tournament. And as I've been working with him, he's been helping me correct some swing issues and work on my release a little bit. And the last thing that I didn't think of before going into this tournament is that, maybe that changed my PAP and some things with my game. I did end up finding out when I came back that my PAP did change. And what that does when your PAP changes is it makes your layouts different than what you're expecting. And layouts are big on bowling balls. A lot of people preach that the most important part of a bowling ball, of course, is the surface on that ball. And that's true, because the surface on that ball is what controls whether or not it reads friction on the lane. However, the layout that you have on that ball controls the overall shape of that ball. So if your PAP changes and you have a set layout on a bowling ball that you're expecting a certain look from, it doesn't matter how much or how little surface you put on that ball, you're not going to have a good result. And with me personally, because my PAP changed so drastically, what that means is the majority of my layouts are actually quite a bit stronger than they used to be. So, mostly I use a 4-inch pin to PAP. Now most of my pin to PAPs are below the 4-inch level, getting closer to like 3.5 inches. It's actually turned some of my balls into a short pin layout, which is perfectly fine, but not understanding that going into a tournament means that you're trying to throw those balls in certain areas where they're just not going to shape very well. So anyways, now that I know my PAP has changed and how my layouts have changed due to that, I am at the point where I know what to expect going into the next tournament and what shapes to expect for my equipment. So going into the tournament, I was struggling with reaction the entire time. My urethane gave me an okay look in the beginning, but it was very kind of wishy-washy. And then as I went through the qualifying block, I kept trying to find a different reactive ball to get into that would just give me a good shape that I could work with, and I just could not find that ball. Even though I was hitting the pocket, I just could not carry strikes. And in the end, when you're out there on the PBA, if you can't strike, you're just not going to make cuts. It's just that simple. If you figure, okay, you only need 2 strikes in one game, basically a double, and then you do a clean rest of the game and you get a 200, that's fine, but a 200 average doesn't cut it on the PBA. You have to average above 200. And my first couple games, I was right in the high 180s, a low 190s, so I was only a few pins back from a 200 average. If you can't strike, you can't get above a 200 average. It's just that simple. So, it wasn't until about game 5 that I finally found a ball that allowed me to hit the pocket and start striking. Except the problem was at that point is you're about 40-ish, 50-ish pins back from the cut line. Actually more than that, because the cut was for my squad was like plus 60 or plus 70 if I remember correctly. So at that stage of the game, even though you're going to strike or you can strike, if you don't spend the rest of the qualifying, which is games 6 through 8, striking almost every shot, and throwing a 250 average, you're just not going to it's just not going to work. You're not going to make the cut. So, my Black Pearl Treasure was the ball I was using very late in the block. And to make that work, because the whole field was using urethane, there was so much carry down. I was standing on top of the 5 board firing my Black Pearl Treasure, which if you guys watch my channel enough, you'll remember that my Black Pearl Treasure is a very strong asymmetric pearl ball, and mine has a surface between 4,000 and 5,000, so it's pretty smooth. But, you know, I had to stand on the 5 board and just fire that ball straight up the 5 board, and because of the carry down, it gave it enough length through the front and the middle part of the lane that it was able to shape to the pocket. So as long as I wasn't missing a little bit to the right, that was an okay look. And I did strike a lot more in games 6 through 8 than I did the entire rest of the time. But like I said, unfortunately, there was no way I could put together a 250, a 250, and a 250 to guarantee myself a spot. So as far as overall, my performance was really good. Just bad ball reaction. And unfortunately, in today's game of bowling, if you have bad ball reaction, there's not a lot you can do. You can throw the ball as good as possible. If it's bad reaction, you're not going to score. So I'm looking forward to my tournament in Spokane in the next couple of weeks. I feel like I am at the point now where I can do really well. Anyway guys, thanks for watching the video today. Please do not forget to like the video, comment on the video, and subscribe to the channel. You know, I do apologize that I haven't been pumping out too much content lately, but I've been extremely busy this summer, not only with bowling, but with a lot of other things. You know, I've been working on my house a lot this summer, remodeling it. I had to add an addition to our trailer for my oldest daughter. She needs a room of her own, and so I've just been so busy I haven't had time to get out to the bowling alley and record any YouTube content. Most of those projects are coming to a close as summer nears an end here, so that means I'm going to be able to have more time to get to the bowling alley and record videos. So if you're looking for more content from me in the near future, I'll see you guys in the next tournament vlog. Thanks for watching.